Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Checked Before. This time, parturition. Yeah, not making that up. That's a real word. Parturition. Voyager, getting real smart on you. Parturition. It's all been checked before. If you want to learn some other really cool words, here's a cool word. Patreon.com/IBD. I don't think that's a word, but it's a way to support us. It's a way to get bonus content. It's a way to get all not just from us. You can get the Mothership stuff, and hopefully, if you're not already listening to the Mothership, the It's All Been Done radio hour that started the whole thing, this is another way. This is a gate. We'll be the gateway for you for that too. It'll be a form of parturition. And I got to be honest, I don't remember what parturition means, but we're gonna explain it to you right here on It's All Been Checked Before. Parturition.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Your skeleton Voyager crew is here.
This is Stephen.
Hey, I'm Shane.
Olivia James. We're here to talk about the Voyager episode Parturition. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think you're right. I think that's right. Yes.
Okay. So first impressions of parturition.
As somebody once referred to me years ago, and still not wrong now, Wooz is a 14-year-old girl. And that's an insult to 14-year-old girls. But I love the first half, the love triangle and all that, which has kind of been a developing thing. And a lot of other fun stuff too for the episode overall. And then it kind of got into we're in a cave, we're on another planet, and the creature and all that stuff. I didn't hate that. I just didn't like it as much. And then we'll get into the resolution with them. But overall, I thought not only did I like the stuff they were getting into, but just overall a lot of good little character stuff throughout the episode. So overall, I liked it. I didn't learn until after the episode that parturition is the act of giving birth, essentially. So
I learned that just now.
Yeah, I didn't look it up, but I thought it was a very Voyager title even before I looked it up, and I'm like, okay, that even makes more sense. Anyway, so yeah, I liked it. It's Tom Paris heavy, so I'm gonna like that. And I thought there was some good conversations about the stuff, and we'll get into what I guess is the resolution more or less of the triangle, but we'll get deeper into that as we discuss.
Okay.
Yeah, reading the synopsis, I was like, oh gosh, no, a Neelix-centered one, and not just that, but a jealous Neelix. Ugh, boy, but
it is the worst version. Anyways,
yes. yeah, like him being weird and obnoxious is one thing, but a jealous obnoxious, that's a whole level. But no, I think overall though, if that description turned you off, you should watch it anyway. That's my.
Well, and just to tip my hand on that again, the rest of the triangle conversation. One of the reasons they decided, what, we should kind of resolve this here is, and we've kind of talked about it, is the super jealous Neelix wasn't working out. Now, I wish in my mind it still continues the triangle in a way, but I kind of like the resolution that, hey, I love your girlfriend, but we're cool, and I don't. Bro code, I'm not going to step over that line kind of thing. But I think there was a way to soften his jealousy, and maybe that's what's happened really. I mean, he on some level, I guess he's always going to be a little bit like wondering. I think about Kes, at least, maybe not with Paris, but with other men on the ship. But I also agree with him, like, and we talked about it, like, and you just really referenced it, Shane, like, we can't have this guy hanging out every week and just seething about, oh, I'm going to strangle somebody or hit them with a plate of spaghetti. Funny as that may be, but we'll get to that soon too. So sorry, I jumped in with a second observation, but sorry.
Oh, that's fine. So I would call this Diet Enemy Mine Lite to yes. Bring a movie we reviewed 5 years ago on this podcast after a very similar Next Generation episode, except in the for Shane's reference, the movie Enemy Mine is about two alien enemies, one human, one alien, that crash land on a planet and end up raising a baby together. Mm-hmm. We watched it because there was a Next Generation episode where Geordi and a enemy, I can't remember, was it a Klingon or a Ferengi, were trapped on a planet together. And this kind of feels like, yes, it's not an alien enemy, but it was two people that don't get along, and there's a baby, like Enemy Mine. So it felt like Enemy Mine Lite, or Diet Enemy Mine. Already a familiar really Star Trek plot. Another retread. But
yeah,
I did not love this episode. I agree that jealous Neelix is the worst Neelix. I do think they threaded a fine line in the way they handled Paris, that overall I found satisfying. That he wasn't too patronizing, he wasn't too sexist, he wasn't too. They were giving Kess agency, which I appreciate. It wasn't just bro code. It was like she would never even have eyes for anybody else anyway because she loves you and it's her choice and blah blah. I liked that aspect rather than like, oh, she's not going to take her from you. Like that would have been awful. That's not the way they framed it, and I appreciate that. And I did like Paris admitting like, this is something I would have done. That's how I used to be, but I'm not squandering my second chance. So I liked those elements, but overall I hated it. I hated Paris mooning over Kess. I hated jealous Neelix. I did not like the Neelix Paris fighting. And yeah, and it was very very bottom of the barrel for me. Not season 3 TOS bad, but maybe like next gen season 7 bad.
So you probably like the second half of the episode better than the first, or it was just all the same level for you?
It was mostly all the same level, honestly. I'd say the very end was slightly better, but it got a little too cheesy at the end, which we'll get to at the time.
Actually, that is the word that I had in my brain all day about, or hokey, with the
schmaltzy.
All my thoughts will hit as we get there, but I'm with you on a lot of that, and but we'll get going. We'll kick it off.
The very first scene is a holodeck scene. Did you think for a second it was real?
I knew immediately. The second I heard just the shot, and when I heard inertial dampers, I was like, no, this isn't real. This is
a Rathacon opening.
Yep.
So yeah, holodeck Paris is being Kess's flight instructor. It gets a little bit suggestive, talking about dirty tricks, and then she falls into his arm.
We got that tension or whatever has been building, and I think, and you just alluded to this, Olivia, but I think there is, and is it? I can't remember if it's Harry or the doctor that says, "Well, you're 2 years old."
Oh, yeah.
Meaning, you're very young, and it's not only is she young, but she doesn't know how these humans and these Neelixes, Talaxians, how they work, especially around the pretty girl and all that. So she's also just learning that.
So she? Would you say she's equivalent to she's 16 going on 17?
That's not a bad. There's that, and I think there's also, and I've seen this in older adults, including myself to an extent, although some people might disagree on it. But I think when you first start, if you're somebody who's never felt attractive or whatever, when you start feeling like you are, that's a new thing too. Or having your own personhood, that's a new feeling too. And it isn't. I remember a friend of mine years ago, and I still have. We all have insecurities. I have throughout life, but you get past them or whatever. But I had a friend who was like, I was like, yeah, man, people were being really nice to me the other day. She's like, well, yeah, of course they're nice to you. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, you're good looking, which was very nice of her, whatever. But it reminded me of, and I think I just quoted this to somebody yesterday, Robert Redford didn't get a part in a film, and the guy's like, the director's like, well, when you're into a girl and you can't get her phone number, and Robert Redford's like, no. It's like, so that's the opposite. It's like being so attractive you don't realize that it's happening. But my friend was like, how do you know women aren't into you that are? And then I started to find out that she was right. But again, I also know people. I know people across the spectrum who, like, it's a weird experience when it's like, oh, people are reacting to me differently now. Whether it's, and the attraction could be just physical, or wow, they're talented, or they just finally met a group of people that are recognizing this. But I think that is part of the Kess thing.
Still waiting for my turn to feel that someday.
I have lots of Paramount Plus stuff as every week. I had some frustrations within this week, but it is interesting whenever you click on Paramount Plus, when you click on, okay, I clicked on Voyager, and then when it goes to the episode, it's like, do you want to watch this? If you don't act fast enough, it starts like a trailer for the episode or a scene. And the first thing you always hear is the rumble of the ship, like the brrr, which is interesting. That's always their room tone. That's what I would say is the room tone for.
As I think as Stephen might have said, oh boy, we, from the description of what was going to be happening. I think that I don't know. I don't want to give too many spoilers about my opinion, but I think I enjoyed it more than I thought that I would have. I will say. I think that it unfolded nicely enough, given the subject matter. I think it's something they needed to get out of the way and probably kind of do. Maybe it'll help, maybe not. Who knows in the long run? But yeah,
To me, so I'm the outlier here, I guess. To me, it did feel like it should have been a season 1 episode for sure. Like this was leftover plot we did not resolve and should have already resolved.
I think that's a very good point.
But yeah, I think Stephen and Shane both liked it better than I did. So yeah, Keith, you're in good company. I'm the odd person out. So we get to this. There's this planet. They need resources, of course, because they always need resources in Voyager, which is great. It's a nice element to have. But they're going to planet Hell, which is one day out of the way. Which, first of all, planet Hell tells you right there exactly what you're getting into. A little bit odd that they're going to go to planet Hell, though they give their good scientific reasons. One day out of the way doesn't seem like that big a deal to me when you've got 75 years to travel. Is one day out of the way going to be
right?
significant?
That's like I was bracing for like that's a week away. Like, oh yeah, that should
Right.
be it's a day. I mean, it's a day. You may find a great planet. Who knows?
Well, those days add up.
That's true.
If they do that every time, it's like before you know it, it's another 40 years.
Yes, but I think you can spare a day here and there. What's the difference between 70 years and 71 years? I mean, seriously.
I enjoyed Janeway saying set a course for planet Hell. That made me laugh. She made me laugh a lot this episode. Also, I think I have this note, but I didn't think about this till later in the episode when the other ship's there and all this stuff's going on, but they're just like, oh, well, we need more food, which makes sense. We're running low on food. There's a Class M planet. Looks like there's plenty of what we need. But like, is it okay to just be like, well, we're gonna go to that planet? And I guess if you just if it's Class M, but it's not developed enough that you're not. I mean, they're not going onto somebody's grocery store on the planet and shoplifting. But it seems. But I don't know. I feel like there must be another level of analysis of. Okay, well, as long as there's just a bunch of apple orchards just sitting out there wild.
Think of it as like foraging. I would think that's totally legit. Like, it's not private land. You're allowed.
Sure, but in my mind, they're picking up like a shuttlecraft full of food, rather than just a grocery bag or whatever. But
well, I'm sure it is going to be at least a shuttlecraft, but it's just foraging. There's a whole planet. The planet can spare a shuttlecraft's worth of food.
To that
of course, they would happen to land in the king's orchard. And Holt, who goes there? What are you doing?
There was a witch, and it was her greens.
And all 30 people that live on the planet would be outraged.
There's 3,000, but we only see 20. So we get a scene where Paris goes to bug Harry Kim, who's playing clarinet. And the first thing that struck me when I was a kid, because I was a clarinet player, as was Shane, I loved the barrel of the clarinet was ridged.
Yeah, that was so. I saw them they must have custom printed that one because that was cool.
I wanted one. I never got one, but I definitely wanted the ridged barrel, and it stood out. So he's playing clarinet, and Tom Paris treats him like he's an Alexa, where he's like, play something different, play this, play that, like taking requests. That was just, it was patronizing, it was rude. I guess we haven't seen a lot of glimpses of what their friendship is like in private. We've only got these like little glimpses in the mess hall. But if this is what their friendship is privately, why does Harry still put up with him?
It feels like it was.
I took it more as Paris is in love or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Feels like there's 19 movie titles in there, but so I thought it was just like, come on, buddy, help me out. But and Kim is my inspiring person for the episode because I thought he was there for everybody in the episode. Like, hang in there. Here's the thing. Here's what, because he tells him like, don't do this, and he's like, well, he tells Paris like, you need to stay away from this, which is, I think, the right
sound advice.
Right advice. It's absolutely the right advice, but yeah. So I didn't necessarily recognize any of the tunes he was playing, but maybe I wasn't.
No, it sounded like famous classical stuff, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
Yeah.
I will say in terms of the great advice, and it was great advice, but it definitely felt like Paris knew that's what he was going to say. Paris already understood that and was going to do that anyway, but he knew Kim would say it, and he wanted somebody to say it to him, right? Like he was just looking for confirmation of what the conclusions he'd already come to, was the way I read it.
Yes. Yeah.
I did appreciate Kim talking about this old Chinese expression, and he's like, that's not an old Chinese expression. It was very Chekhov in the original series about old Russian expression.
Yeah, little lady.
Russian proverb, but it was always something that wasn't the least bit Russian.
And maybe this is why I like this part of the Paris more. I felt Paris here. Very Dawson's Creek also, which we can refer back to this when we get to our Dawson's Creek watch in 20 years, but rewatch.
I don't want to wait
exactly
for our starship to get home.
That's a completely different issue. And I can't remember if it's the Paris Kim conversation or later when I thought they were going to be like, or maybe it's later where Paris is like, I'm going to be cool. I thought he was going to say, plus, the Delaney sisters are still on board.
No mentions. Yeah, I was waiting for the mention of the Delaney sisters. The next scene we get, we're on the bridge, and the doctor has been eavesdropping and tells Janeway, yeah, no, I've been eavesdropping the situation. First of all, you should brief me. But second of all, here's the thing. And I loved that first Janeway, controlled herself enough to be like, okay, doctor, we're going to listen to you on this. But now deal with Chakotay, because this isn't going to continue.
So later when he's telling Kez, oh, hey, here's what happens when you walk in a room to our guy Paris, does that mean he's been eavesdropping in a lot of different ways?
I mean, I don't think he's eavesdropping. I think that stuff's all super obvious.
And it's also programming. And yeah, it is that thing. This is Spider-Man ripping off Star Trek. The first Spider-Man when Aunt May's like, why don't you tell that girl how much you love her? How you feel about her. Everybody else knows. And, which sets off the final end of the movie. But I thought, when he was telling Kez that, I thought it was very much the same thing. Like, you're the only person who really hasn't noticed that this is going on.
So Neelix has made hair pasta. And I did appreciate the jokes here about that it was made with real hair. And then later in the episode, there's another joke similarly about, I can't remember what it was, but another food stuff that's actually what it sounds like instead of, It looked delicious. It did not look like it was follicles, but
it made me hungry. And in fact, I watched it twice and it made me hungry both times.
I think he did mention they had protein in them because I noticed there was no visible meat mixed into the pasta. It was just pasta and sauce. So I wondered about their protein intake, but
I thought it was interesting the food fight. They didn't go for the face.
Well, it was very tight smiles. Very low tension. And then Kes storms out before, we even get to anything happening. Right. It almost is like they're waiting for her to storm out to have the conference. Neelix is waiting for her to leave before he confronts Paris, which feels wrong and dumb and petty. And
I took that as she was mad that Paris wasn't sitting and talking with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think she also...
something.
But I think she also knew it was because Neelix was acting jealous. So I think she was mad at both of them equally. I don't think she really had good justification to be mad at Paris.
Yeah.
The food fight, they were kind of saved by the call from Janeway, but they weren't quite saved because they still had to go immediately, which gave a really funny visual and a really great Janeway reaction, but also is that pasta made of glue, because there was a giant clump on Paris that should have fallen off long before he got all the way up to her office.
I did enjoy them saying, right now? Yes, right now. So, I mean, I think that was the funniest part. And that's where I thought it was going to be like in a lot of other Trek episodes, like Trouble with Tribbles or any kind of bar fight or Animal House. I thought it was going to be a food fight where all of a sudden stuff's going everywhere. But I still found it amusing. Also, while we're still on food fight and we're on cast, later the doctor's going to tell her it was a compliment for them to fight over her. Is it a compliment?
I don't think so. I think it's small-minded and petty and whatever. But I also think the Doctor is a old school romantic, likes the old romance stories. We've seen a glimpse of that with the Viking stuff. We're going to see more of that, so it made sense for his character to think it was a compliment. I think that was consistent for the Doctor's development.
I think, and I speak from being in way too many triangles, but I think both sides, I think it feels good to be the one that's like, oh, they're both interested in me. I don't know if I don't think anyone's ever had a physical fight and I've never been in a physical fight over somebody, but although I just wrote a play where that's kind of the joke was, are you guys fighting over me? No, we don't like you. But you're actually fighting above me, though. That was the whole. It was a preposition joke. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if it's actually a compliment or not. If they're already interested in you, maybe the negative is like you're dating these two idiots. You're interested in these two idiots, or they're interested in you, I guess. So I guess that's
a 90s compliment.
Yeah. This checks out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Janeway just staring at him, like looking back and forth. Just so, what's up? They're like, don't worry about it. She's like, yeah, okay. Like, figure it out. I'm not going to deal with this.
I was Janeway in this. I was absolutely Janeway in this scenario. So, like,
I love Kate. I love her already, but she's so great in this episode. I just little things like that where she's just little looks and stuff. It was great.
She was pitch perfect, but as we've discovered, she always is. So, you know, the shock of that is wearing off because I've always liked Janeway, but I guess I hadn't appreciated her fully the first time when I was watching. And in this run through, like, I'm no longer surprised that every single thing she does is perfect because that's just her at this point. I think.
One other thing I couldn't help notice in this episode, or I can't anymore, because we talked about Janeway's wigs a couple weeks ago, I think, and I really like this one. If it is a wig, it might be her natural hair.
I'm sure it's a wig. It's always a wig.
So I feel like at some point, and maybe actually I tried to do my research. I should have just looked up ranking her wigs somewhere, but I'm sure there's that or ranking her hairstyle. But I really like this one, so I was in favor of it.
So we're up to the point where the doctor clues Kess in on what's going on. And what struck me about that scene is he's telling us about the Ocampa, or she's telling us about the Ocampa mating habits. They mate for life, and there's no jealousy or regrets or divorce or anything. And for a second, that confused me, and it felt very false. But then on the other hand, I'm thinking from an evolutionary standpoint, when you only live 9 years, and I think we learned in that other episode that they only have that one brief window of reproduction. It makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint to not develop jealousy and to develop mating for life for their specific way that they go about things in their specific timetable. So I buy it as like an alien thing, which I think is really cool that it like makes total sense for the species, and they did something like that.
Yeah, if it's only for 7 years, I think I can pull that
9.
off.
Oh yeah, well yeah, because you'd be at least 2 before you got married.
I can do it.
That was a moment though where I had to remind myself that they do only live that long. When he's like, "You're 2," like, oh, that makes what Paris is all about real weird.
I mean, you gotta think that's equivalent to at least 20, which is still, you know.
Well, he's young. He's supposed to be what, 20s?
Yeah, but I thought that conversation was good. A lot of good, like, here's things to think about, and here's questions and answers. I thought when she said that, it made me think of the line Woody Allen uses in Manhattan, which I think is also cuts both ways. But he's like, no, I think people should mate for life, like Catholics and pigeons, which I think is kind of like knowingly, like, I know Catholics don't mate for life. At least they were starting to less and less, like the rest of society. And at that point, 1970.
They should mate for life, and they should marry their stepdaughter.
Yeah, and it was Manhattan, which I watched recently, and it does hit a little differently than it has. I like Janeway's her landing party choices. She explains them and it makes sense. It's logical.
She is logical.
But should there be more than 2 people? And this goes back to my grocery shopping thing.
Nah.
To gather up all that food.
Think so. I think 2 was sufficient for what they did. If it was like they get down there and there's an abundance, then I'm sure she'll send more. But at least for an initial thing, when the shuttle's a little iffy anyway because of the conditions.
Well, my other thought was also it's not the Enterprise, so you don't have 1,000 people, so you can't send 7 people down. So
that's a great point. There's only like 150 people, and then there's no going to Starbase for a refill of crew. Like that's it.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're a finite resource.
I'll just back up 1 second. Oh, I'm sorry, Keith.
Oh, I was just saying you'd think that at this point they've encountered so many planets that they can't beam down to, that
Yeah.
they'd invest in upgrading their landing craft or something, because this
Yes.
happens quite a bit.
Whenever the story writers need another obstacle.
Yeah, constantly working on the shuttles being more durable, having better communications, all of that. Yes.
No, they don't have the replicator rations for it.
That's true.
I mean, they do have 70 years.
That's why they don't have replicators for food, because they have to keep printing new shuttles.
Yeah. I love Kim this episode, like I said, but he does give one piece of advice that I didn't love. And maybe this is just my recency bias. That's for Keith. They're going into the mess hall, and he's like, listen, why don't we take in a holodeck program later, which I'm not upset about at first. And then he's like, a Moliere comedy, that'll cheer you up. I'm like, that's you're going back 600 years or whatever. Seriously, a Moliere comedy? Like,
well, nothing's really happened since then.
In my brain, a Moliere comedy is, unless it's an updated version of it, is homework. I feel like it's like to me, but
is it like a sad clown or something? I can't even.
He wrote a lot of the comedies he wrote were the basis for a lot of the comedies you see now. So there's plenty of movies and TV shows that have ripped him off.
Playwright.
As we know from TOS and TNG, Starfleet officers only enjoy classical literature and plays and
That's
music.
all they teach at the academy.
That's all they teach. They don't teach anything past 1800 because, copyright. Did anybody not think the shuttle was going to crash? Like, as soon as they left on the shuttle, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's totally going down.
Not a question in my mind. And I wrote down, can the shuttle ever have a smooth landing?
Right?
And I'm just like, there we go. Because, I feel like the Orville, and they can't beam down, so they have to all do. I feel like
they have transporters on the Orville.
I feel like they get stuck on planets, but it's never because of the shuttle. I feel like they always have a smooth landing, and then other trouble happens. But yeah. But then I wrote, great, a cave.
That is the Voyager standing cave, right? They use it. It's the same cave they use in every episode. That was a standing set for Voyager.
To go back to your Enemy Mine reference, yeah, it's from TNG. It's one of the caves. It's the cave set that they use for those.
Well, they took over TNG soundstage, so it's very, very likely a modified TNG cave that they used.
I bet we don't have an episode with a cave in it for a while on here.
2 weeks.
That's another Lower Decks spoof that in the one episode where they really was like, oh, I can't remember exactly, but it's essentially just referencing, and maybe more than once. Oh, caves. Like, I think I've been in a couple caves, but how are caves just everywhere? I don't know.
It was purely the budget thing, because if you remember on Next Gen, they were always going to different planets. Yeah. And there were a lot of cheesy planet sound stages, but for Voyager, they decided to build them a cave that they kept built and they used frequently. And so it was like, we built this set that you're going to use, so they're going to just keep writing stories in caves. I'm pretty sure the writers didn't have a choice, because this is what you had. We're not going to build you new planets. This is what you got.
That sounds like one of those. God, what am I want to say, well, like one of those Mad Lab special things or something, or.
I was going to say, you can set it anywhere you want as long as it's in a cave.
Yeah.
The doctor only gave them one small spray to share on this thing when he said their skin was going to get irritated. I think they should have they already should have gone through a self-tanning version of spraying down. And then once they did it, at least have multiple, you should have a utility belt with multiple cans.
Mm-hmm. Well, rations.
I was very confused on the science. There's vapors all over the surface of this planet. But if we go in the cave, I would think the vapors would be in there too, which, okay, so the answer to that was, oh yes, but we're going to seal the cave. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't explain to me how you get the vapors out of the cave. That would prevent more vapors from coming in if somehow the vapors are only existing outside, if they're not being, because they're coming up from the ground, right? Is that what they said? So they'd be coming from the ground in the cave too.
Well, no, it really depends on, I didn't hear the explanation from the herb. I don't recall having heard it, but you could theoretically. So, wow. Okay, need to slow down. I can think already of maybe it being from evaporation of some sort from the ground. Maybe there's certain plant life that's exuding it or something, or close to a marshland,
so it works.
Okay, but it's still already in the air when they go into the cave. So how do you're not pumping it out or anything? So how's?
Did they say that? Did they say that it's in the cave already? I mean,
Well, that's why they sealed the entrance. But no, I didn't know that they said it was in the cave, but it had to be, right? Because it was everywhere. It was all around them. So
Well,
there's no
that's
way
what
it
I'm saying.
wasn't in the cave.
Sometimes elevation, sometimes air pressure. You could explain it away if you really tried. But I
Then
guess
you
they
wouldn't have
just
to
didn't
seal
really
the
try.
cave. If it wasn't existing in the cave, you wouldn't have to seal the cave to keep it from coming
Wait,
in
so
more.
they purposely sealed it?
Yeah, they phasered the entrance because they were trying to avoid the. They're like, oh well, the vapors can't come in if we seal the entrance. Like, but the vapors are already in because it was open.
No, that's a good point. If they're saying they want to prevent it from going in,
It
then
must
it
just
wouldn't
be, you know, the grounds where the atmosphere can hit it, like if it rains, right? But it doesn't rain in the cave, so that ground's okay. So it doesn't come up from that ground.
No, that's what I was saying before. But that shouldn't be necessary. So either it's not, if it's not going to go in, then they wouldn't need to seal it. So if it was going to go in, if they didn't seal it, then it should have already been in.
That's my point.
Let's call the writer. Let's ask him.
Unless there's
Well,
some
the
other
writer-
kind of some other factor, like maybe something actively makes it move in periodically.
Okay, so
weather
since
condition.
we're talking about writing, the writer was Tom Szolosy. It's Szollosi, who has two
Well, that's a
Voyager
bad
writing
sign.
two Voyager writing credits. The first one was a season 1 episode called The Cloud, which you may or may not remember. There's coffee in that nebula. No, that was the Living Cloud, I think. The Living Cloud. But he is best known for writing for Voyager, despite the fact that he's only got 2 episodes credit. He does have 35 writing credits, ending in 2005, even though I don't see a death date on his IMDb. Wrote for The Outer Limits in 1999, Sequest 2032, some of those like sci-fi stuff. But the 2 Voyager are his only Trek credits. So yeah, Knight Rider, he wrote an episode of Knight Rider. Also, this episode was directed by your friend and mine, Mr. Jonathan Frakes, in case you couldn't tell. So he directs a lot of Trek in this era, and his name comes up. This is not the first time he's come up in Voyager. It won't be the last.
Just to put a bow on the closing the cave thing, I thought they were doing it just to keep bad people out.
No, because there were no life signs at that point.
No, that's true.
Really? Yeah, I don't remember the timeline that well.
It was after they were sealed in, because then they're like, you shouldn't have sealed us without checking for life signs. He's like, I did check for life signs. There weren't any.
Oh.
Yeah. But when they do it, they just say, this is good. We can last a while in here. And then they blast it. That should do it. And then they go to heating up the rocks, which I loved how much time they spent on just focusing on the rocks and him shooting it. And I guess they were like, well, we have to have this effect, and we're going to milk it for at least a good minute. And then before
those are cool rocks. I like the rocks that hold heat. I liked they had the properties, and you like the solution of heating them up. That was all wonderful. I thought that was good.
I'm pretty sure they did that in TOS, and I think.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so.
They absolutely did. That was not Voyager hasn't started moving into original territory yet. They're still like TNG season 1 where they're recycling all the old plots for the most part.
Yeah, which gets us to the baby, who I thought was a Gorn for a little while.
Oh, so the egg hatched, and it was a dinosaur. I think, had we not seen Strange New Worlds, I would not have thought Gorn, but because of Strange New Worlds, I was thinking Gorn. So
it did look more
that's
like
one of those retroactive things.
It did look like the dinosaurs on the show. Was it called Dinosaurs?
Yes, if that's what you're thinking of.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, it honestly made me think of Enemy Mine even more, because that was like a reptilian-like alien.
And it's weird to me because I read that like it took 8 people to puppeteer the baby. Yeah, and then I think
at the same time,
the guy who plays Neelix was talking about that, and then because I thought
to puppet your 8 people on the way to your car.
I thought,
maybe they're just like really 8 children who had to keep rotating out.
Yeah, I thought the baby looked really cool, and then when the dad or the mom showed up, I'm like, they don't look as cool actually as the baby, because the baby looked fully functional, and the dad or mom had the mouth that nothing moved, the body moved or anything, but nothing really on the face moved. So
I actually hired the team that did Jurassic Park 2 years earlier to do the baby.
They were very tired by then.
I'm not going for that. You almost had me. I thought for a second.
I totally bought. I was like, okay.
I don't expect anyone else to believe my BS. They could have very well. I did no research, so I have no idea. Before we get to that, they have Harry Kim go to tell Kes about that, like check on Kes because Neelix and Paris are missing. And did you notice he came up to her with a big smile on his face and was way too cheery for that conversation?
Yeah.
It was almost creepy. It was almost. There's almost an alternate episode here where he actually was in love with her. He was just waiting to get the two of them out of the way. He sabotaged the shuttlecraft. It's my alternate episode. Harry sabotages the shuttlecraft so he can get them. And then at the end of the episode, we see Harry drop the coffee mug as he like walks out and he's limping, but then he starts walking straight, and it's Harry all along.
Sabotage.
That's the way you put that, Olivia. It makes me think of a joke a couple of friends of mine used to do all the time. Their thing was like, when it got down to closing time, back when bars closed later, but it still applies even when they close earlier. Essentially, their whole thing was like, and I don't know that I don't think they ever actually did it, but I could. There's very possible they did, but essentially it was like, well, I'm all that's left. So maybe that's what Harry was going to do. Maybe that was why he's so excited. I was like, well, I guess it's me and you now.
Tom really sold him on the whole Kess being great thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, hell yeah, that's a good point. And Kim seems
Kim started a live character
closer in age, so
yeah, that's true. Kim's only 3, so you know. Neelix, I guess this is supposed to make him endearing, but it honestly just made him annoying. Where he's like, "We don't abandon the newborn." Oh, I'm gonna be. Yeah. That was the sexist part though, where they were like, "You're his godmother instead of godfather," and I had to explain to Zoe, I'm like, that was a sexist, mean insult, even though it wasn't taken that way. And
I wrote godmother. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, why is that why is that bad? And I was like, because I had to explain to her the gender roles and how that was a thing. People before her generation, like our generation, used to.
Gay panic.
Thankfully, the kids these days aren't like that.
Forever ago, yeah, that's
yeah.
But yeah, Neelix was already my annoying in the episode, and then when he started that nonsense, I shouldn't say nonsense. I mean, I guess whatever. I felt like the conversation was overcooked about, well, we have to do this or that. It's like, I think Paris made the point. It's like, well, if we weren't here, it wouldn't matter. They didn't make the egg hatch. So
well, I do get Neelix's point about nest and abandoning, because I know that's a thing with some birds and stuff. But
I heard that was a myth.
I agree with. Oh, is it?
No, yeah, I thought that was something that parents are supposed to tell kids to keep them from messing with the nest or trying to play with the baby birds.
Really?
Yeah, it's not true.
Oh, it's not.
It is not
Google
true.
AI Google result says it is.
It's not the. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it had been a thing. It had been a thing that had been circulating. Basically, it's just if it falls out of the nest and it's wandered away, like by you picking it up, then it doesn't know where the nest is anymore, and the parents don't know where it could have. Like if it fell straight down and walked to the left, now could be anywhere. So it's more just safety for the bird. If you find the nest, you should be able to put it back in and it'd be fine.
I can't find anything one way or the other. I mean, Google's AI says it's a true thing, but in terms of legitimate sources, I'm not finding.
Right. I can't remember how old I was when I learned that. It made perfect sense. Like, oh, why of course.
What if it's a Cadbury egg? Does that change the equation?
Yeah, they said the scent thing was a myth, because birds have a poor sense of smell. But it's still, if you disturb it, you're right. If you move the nest, then they don't look for it, and they do say that just the fact that it's disturbed makes them think there might be a predator nearby, so they don't return to it if it looks different or if it looks like somebody's messed with it at all. But again, this is Google A's answer. Scientific American does say birds don't abandon the young in response to touch. So that one I would take a little more. Scientific American's probably a little more reliable.
Because that was the point of it. It's like, if you touch that bird, the mother's going to smell it, and then.
Yeah, the birds have a really bad sense of smell. They rely on sight. So, yeah, I'm now seeing when I look up. I changed my search term several times. I'm now seeing a few scientific sites saying the scent thing specifically is a myth, but disturbing the nest could cause them to think of predators nearby and abandon it. So anyway,
right. But I would think that the data they collected by that point about it being most likely sentient, you wouldn't think that a sentient creature, and especially an adult, would come down and go, "Oh God, it looks like somebody might have been here before. I better kill this thing, or it's gone. It's dead. You know, I can't.
You
I
also
can't
wouldn't think a
figure it out.
sentient race would mate for life at age 2, but it happens. Aliens, right?
Fine. But no, that's a much more of a specious kind of thing. This thing doesn't look human, therefore it is animalistic and blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. But yes, okay, fine. He's playing it safe, but I don't know. It certainly it did turn out to be rather annoying under the circumstances.
Oh, absolutely. So I have multiple tabs open because I look at IMDb and stuff as I'm going, and I happen to flip. I'm not looking at Facebook, but when I click on the tabs, I accidentally clicked on Facebook next to it, and what came up is a Star Trek meme. Fun fact: Star Trek: The Motion Picture director Robert Wise often took multiple takes until he found the perfect shot for the infamous transporter accident scene. He filmed 27 takes for the final cut, vaporizing 54 stunt people in the process and adding expensive funeral costs to the movie's growing budget. These poor souls now haunt various transporter rooms. At least one occasion, they tried to eat Dwight Schultz. So the more you know.
Well, they are a renewable resource in this quadrant. So
I just thought that was hilarious. So yeah. The baby ate gas, which was interesting, but also I thought they explained that decently, scientifically speaking.
Yeah.
I bought it.
It's like being in a embryonic sac or something.
Well,
Right.
it brought up a thing we talk about all the time as far as ship sensors. On what they're so volatile, how good they are, accurate they are, and they're like, well, yeah, they just said it had amino acids and nutrients. It didn't say in what form they were, which
I do kind of like that.
Me too. I liked that sciencey part of this episode for sure. I did appreciate Paris and Neelix opening up to each other. You knew it was coming. You knew that was going to be part of this episode. But I thought that part was the best scene their relationship was handled in this. And they did need to open up to each other. And I like that Paris kind of prompted it because he was frustrated that Neelix wouldn't listen to him and was judging him. And spoke up for himself. Good for him.
I thought, Olivia, you hit on it really well, and I wrote down that line. I used to be a coward because Neelix is like, well, I hear the things they say about you. What do they say? He's like, well, yeah, I used to be a coward, couldn't be trusted. I know that. I'm trying to be better, and I think that also prompts him to be like, let's have this conversation, and here's what I plan to do about this because I don't want to be that guy, even though obviously we know he has feelings for her, and I mean, although part of me was still the old me being like, don't do it. Don't say anything. Just shut up. But
I think I really all right. I think that he needed to be honest about that.
I agree.
That it's because it was. I think that Neelix he overreacted certainly in the commissary, whatever. But it's.
I didn't want to see more.
They were trying to gaslight him, essentially.
Oh.
Kess unintentionally because she really was that naive, but Tom was overdoing it too with the not gonna sit with her, don't like her.
And I think maybe whenever the last episode that this came up, which was probably last week, but in their time may have been weeks, maybe they were in denial or whatever. But I agree that
I want to disagree with Keith. I don't think it was Tom gaslighting Neelix. I think it was Tom knowing that it was a bad idea to cause drama and insert himself more, so I'm going to remove myself from the situation. I don't think it was gaslighting. I think it was him being like, I'm just not going to do this drama.
No, it's the effect. I'm not saying that Tom was intentionally trying to do that, but Kess, the combination of what Kess would always say about them, there's absolutely nothing. Why would anything possibly happen? Blah 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 blah. Again, I don't know. It's more the effect of discounting his what he's picking up on.
I don't think
absolutely insane.
I don't think Paris choosing not to sit there was discounting it at all. I think it was acknowledging and respecting it and making a choice not to further antagonize it.
But I think we're going and we're talking about different kinds of things. I'm saying that every time that she would tell him that he had nothing to be jealous about at all. What are you talking about? What are you seeing? I don't see anything. You're crazy. That kind of thing.
Okay.
But it's.
I can see your point of Kess unintentionally gaslighting him. I just didn't think Paris was gaslighting Neelix. But
no.
Yeah.
Well, but
Kess does know where everybody's quarters are. We know that. All the male crew members.
The point though is acknowledging there is something valid that you have been detecting I'm not going to do
Okay.
anything about this. I'm putting this
Okay.
out in the open. That was a good thing.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. So they refuse to leave the baby even when it starts to endanger their life, which is noble and very Starfleet. So I couldn't get upset with it, even though I was frustrated a little bit by it. And then we get to the end where they're all friends, and Neelix has his arm around both of them, and we're gonna go hang out together as a threesome, which I really felt like it should have ended. They invited Paris back to their quarters, and he took it further. Just kidding. Mostly.
Definitely crossed my mind as they were walking away. Like, see, everybody's happy.
Yeah, just to back up a
Neelix
little.
just didn't want to be the third wheel. As long as Paris is willing to give him a little something too.
I mean, Kess is just gonna watch. I thought. I just to back up a second. There's the whole thing where they're ready to beam him out, and Neelix is like, "Well, yeah, we can't do this yet. How long we have? 70 seconds." Like, all right, and then the Notagorn starts shooting at them, and Neelix is like, "There's nothing like a family reunion." Oh no, sorry. Paris says Voyager 2 to beam out, and then Neelix says, "As soon as you're ready." It seems unnecessary. I was just like, was that like in the moment, like on set? He's like, "As soon as you're ready," or was it like the writer was like, "Neelix should say something here," because I don't know. 2 to beam out sends a message enough from what happened earlier that they need to beam up right now. I just thought it was so. It just made me laugh. Like, I don't know if that's just. Hey, let's make Neelix more annoying than he is.
That raises a question actually that could be good for one of these hypothetical special episodes. And a genuine question for Olivia. Do you think that there was ever room for the actors to improvise?
I don't think the Star Trek actors ever really got to improvise, no.
So it's not like that. He just snuck that in. It was like, well, this felt right to say.
Well,
I'm not saying they never got an improv line in, but yeah, I don't think that's something that was common on Star Trek.
When I used to do my George Takei, I would always say, I would always do a bit where I would say, when I said warp factor 5 in episode The Alternative Factor, that was completely improvised. Gene Roddenberry had not written that, but I threw in warp factor 5, Captain, and they kept it in.
Shane, what were you saying about it might have been improv?
Oh, I was just saying, I could, knowing the actor who plays Neelix, I could totally see him just trying to get away with throwing a line here and there in.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, it fits with Neelix's character because he's always like, "I'm throwing in information with you." Information, but yeah,
that's not bad. Yeah, I could. That seems reasonable.
It could be, but yeah, it made me laugh. Either way, so mission accomplished, I think. So yeah.
Anybody else have any other notes?
I have 2 other notes. This is going way back, and this is just a continuing, the Kess Marilyn Monroe "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" voice. I like that she still had it even with. That was another reason I knew it was a holodeck, because she was still using that voice while saying the inertial dampers and all that stuff. And my alternate episode, and this will surprise no one, is that Kess and Paris go down to the planet instead of
down to the planet.
And then it goes, and it could go in a number of ways. But yeah.
I mean, my alternate episode I had written down was that Paris made an actual play for her. I'm glad he didn't, because I liked the growth of his character, and I think we're rapidly getting both Paris and Neelix to a better place in their character development. But it could have been interesting to see him make an actual play and then be rejected and have that spark something as well. And also just what that would do with Kess and Neelix. But
yeah, and I guess there is an element of maybe he realized, and who knows? I mean, I'm not going to question his love, but maybe realizing it's an infatuation or affection. He still obviously has affection for her, but he's not going to. It's not worth it to disrupt, interrupt somebody else's relationship or whatever. So
yeah. Okay. Anything else before we get to the rankings?
Not I. I do not.
Wonderful. Who is your annoyance in this episode?
Well,
Chakotay.
Do we have a day to make a list now? Neelix, right? It's mine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the alien parent.
Ooh.
Oh, why?
All right, all right. I guess under the circumstances, it was probably right to be suspicious. Who knows? But it's just like, I don't know.
I'd say they're sentient enough to have a starship. They should at least give somebody the benefit of the doubt instead of just firing
Something
and
like that.
attacking. Yeah.
Well, I think this happened to them before, and they were like, "Not again, not on my watch."
That's
So
that's
they
also
decided to open
reasonable.
fire right away.
We don't know what their.
We don't know what kind of day they had.
I was going to say what their food. What the hell is it even called? I can't even.
Plus, lizard brain,
Their pyramid.
food pyramid.
No, yeah, no. But why can't I think of what it's called all of a sudden? My God, my head is just.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
No, like all right. So like in the wild, the food chain,
circle of life,
something like that. The,
alpha. Yeah.
What determines the apex
Predator
so on,
chain?
the natural,
yeah.
something like that. I don't know. They might actually have natural predators that do that. They fly over in the starships themselves.
Could have been a war with a mammalian species for centuries, so we don't know the background. So
I still
they
like
may be very speciesist against mammals.
You don't know what's going on in his or her life.
Maybe that parent just had a really bad day.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta
They
have
were stressed
empathy.
out.
They might have a lot of other things going on.
They might have just been busy. Like, yeah, we need this on top of work sucks. I'm fighting with my spouse. And now I show up and these people have my baby. What the heck?
Maybe they might listen to like alarmist radio, and it's like you know where your babies are right
They're
now.
eating the babies. They're eating the babies.
They've probably been radicalized by listening to podcasts.
Okay,
Not this one.
No. So 3 of us chose Neelix. Keith dissented. And this is my second episode of Voyager in a row. I chose Neelix. Who are we having a drink with?
Tom.
I'm choosing the doctor because he's got all the tea and I need to hear it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's good. I'm gonna say Harry Kim so he can serenade me with more clarinet. Different
I don't want
song, though.
serenaded with the clarinet. Like I'll play it, but I don't want to be serenaded with.
Oh, probably Tom in this case, I would say.
Nice. You and Stephen can share him.
Yeah.
And then who was your inspiring character?
Mine was Kim. I thought I know we played with him having ulterior motives with Cass, but I thought the way he talked to her and with Harris, I thought he was very trying to be a good friend and a good crewmate.
I chose Paris because he showed real maturity and growth, and I appreciated that.
Janeway.
Always a good choice.
Yeah, the handling of that whole thing was nice.
We'll go with Tuvok for his plan, his plan that he came up with.
That was another funny moment in the episode. I enjoyed very much as well. That was very funny. I
stole
laughed a lot in
thunder.
this episode, so
So I want to start at the bottom for ranking. Sorry.
What?
We'll see. There's only 6 episodes. This is episode 7, so we'll see how far you drive me up, or you guys just outvote me. But better or worse than Initiations?
Oh God. Yeah.
I'll give you better than that. I will jump right in and say this is better than that.
All right.
So we'll go above Initiations. Above that is Twisted.
This is better than that, I would say.
This is better than that too, though.
Yeah.
We're getting close, though. Above that is Non Sequitur.
Ooh.
I'll go above that too. I started too low.
Yeah, that's interesting.
This season hasn't been as good as I thought. Above that's the 37s. That's where I stop. I think it's below the 37s.
Yeah.
Where would that put it? Number 4 out of 7?
4 out of 7, smack dab in the middle.
All right.
Which, to be honest, I think Non Sequitur Twist Initiations weren't very good episodes. So season 2's a little rough so far. We're early in season 2 though. It's got plenty of time. And I liked Projections, Elogium, and the 37s quite a bit. So we'll see. Well, next week, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Indiscretion. Kira and Gul Dukat go on a road trip now. They go after the lost prison ship Ravana. Dukat has a secret. Meanwhile, Cassie Yates tries to find work near Bajor, leaving Cisco uncomfortable. More relationship drama. Until then, live long
and stay out of caves and prosper.
budget.
Leave those babies alone.
It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?